If you had told me 1 or 2 years into my photography journey that one day I would be excited about using a Micro Four Thirds camera, I probably wouldn't have believed you. I was one of those spoiled photographers who started out with full frame, so I never really considered anything smaller. APS-C already felt like a compromise, and Micro Four Thirds was really never an option. But over the years, as my photography evolved and changed, also my average f-stop started to increase from f1.8 or 2 to f4, f5.6, and nowadays it's more around f8. Now I care less about shallow depths of field, and I care more about composition, layering, and having actually more of the scene in focus. And once you realize that an f4 on Micro Four Thirds is roughly the equivalent of an f8 on full frame, while still gathering the same light as an f4, the whole system starts to make a lot of sense. So I thought it was finally time to put my full frame bias aside and finally experience the Micro Four Thirds for myself. And for this video, OMSYSTEM provided me with the OM3, which I will be using for both photography and video before returning it to them. This video is also sponsored by them, so it's not a proper review, more of a product showcase, but as always, everything that I will be sharing about my experience is based on my own experience with the camera. With that said, let's have a look if this cute little camera can make me fall in love with Micro Four Thirds. Let's shoot. Like these two awnings, one here on the right side that is a bit yellow, but kind of faded yellow, that says Kusuri, so it's like a drugstore, and we have the orange one on the left side. And I'm placing here on purpose to have a bit of a foreground that leads the eye and kind of focus the frame and this photo towards these two little shops. I tried both horizontal and vertical, and I think both works. I had someone walking in the frame here with a white shirt catching the light, which created a nice contrast against like the entrance, which is in the shadow. So that was decent. Yeah, I think job is done here. I can see also an advantage of having a reduced depth of field. Oh no, actually it's not a reduced depth of field, it's an increased depth of field. What I mean is that, for example, at 2.8 I have twice the amount of depth of field than full frame at the same f-stop. But in terms of like exposure triangle, you benefited on the shutter speed. And this, I can see it being a good thing in street photography, where probably speed is more important than depth of field if you want your scene to be fully in focus or having a lot of focus, and you're more worried about the speed not having motion blur. Then a Micro Four Thirds can be better than full frame, because you need to close down your aperture much less to have the same amount of like a long and deep depth of field, so you can keep your shutter speed to 500th of a second, even 1000th of a second, which let you freeze the action. So yeah, definitely there's not only disadvantages of having a longer depth of field, so having less bokeh capabilities. It comes at a cost in terms of like portrait and this kind of wedding work, if it's your thing to have like creamy bokeh, but it can be an advantage in the street, even maybe for landscape photography. And also the other day I was taking photos of my family during Blue Hour at a summer festival, and being able to shoot at f1.8 let me keep my shutter speed pretty high, low ISO, and still having the depth of field of 3.6 equivalent in full frame. So it was not f1.8, so I could have all the faces in focus despite having like small differences in terms of depth and where they were placed in the focal plan. The sun is coming and going, but now we have a nice beam of light going through the street, and I like the pattern on the building in the background here with the little lanterns, and I'm just waiting for someone to be walking to that beam of light. I hope the light will not disappear, maybe more than a person. A car, like a nice car, could be nice, a taxi or something, because in such a wide scene, just a pedestrian or a cyclist could be a bit too small. So yeah, let's wait a little bit and try to get the shot. Also, one of the things I want to talk about is the hybrid capabilities of the camera. I've been trying to have like two separate cameras in the past, but of course in the context of trying this camera, I've been using it as a hybrid, switching from photo to video during the same session, and I can tell that it's very smooth. There is a dedicated mode switch dial to jump from photos to video very quickly. and the switch is super fast, super smooth. I haven't had any glitches when switching modes. And one of the best features of this video mode is the stabilization. I haven't tried it too much when walking. I've heard there's a bit of jello, but when you take static shots, which is like the main type of shots I take, this is the best stabilization system I've tried to get nice static shots in the streets with a bit of motion. And even like when you pan slightly, you can have like beautiful shots that stay stabilized and you don't see any of these like weird sensor shift. I guess it's probably the size of the sensor which makes it easier to stabilize because it's half the size of a full frame sensor. So yeah, the motors around it, probably an easier time to walk around the sensor and make it stabilized, I guess. I like what the 4x3 sensor is getting me here because I have a little bit more vertical space that lets me capture the truck, including the sign up there that says Chushajo, so parking. I was careful enough to get everything and have a little bit of space outside, so none of the characters are cut, and there's also space below the truck, so everything is tidy. I also managed to get rid of these white and red things on the right side. There's only like the shadow, so it's a pretty neat composition and definitely one that we could get thanks to the 4x3 sensor, I think. Also, the advantages of a Micro Four Thirds is having a smaller sensor. It needs smaller lenses. Smaller lenses are lighter, which makes the experience of using such a camera very pleasing to walk around the whole day, having it around the neck. But I would say that for like a small prime lens within the range of like 28 to 50 on full frame, we have like very small lenses nowadays. So the difference and the advantages are not really here when using a Micro Four Thirds, but it's when you start using a zoom lens. I have this other lens that goes from 24 to 90 millimeter equivalent, so it's a longer focal range than 24 to 70, like the typical zoom lenses we have on full frame. I only have a 28 to 70, so it's definitely a bigger focal range on both like the wide end and the long end. Yes, it's an f4, so it makes an f8 equivalent in terms of depth of field, but f4 in terms of light gathering. And having such range in a small package like this, that is where the small sensor shines, because again, have something as versatile as this, not being bothered about carrying it all day. And you know, I'm not someone who shoots wildlife or anything, but if you go even longer, like talking about the 100 to 400 equivalents, like very telephoto zoom, that's where you can spare like half, even more than that in terms of weight and size. So definitely Micro Four Thirds is a preferred solution for like the wildlife photographers. I'm not really concerned by this, but it's just worth noting. But I like the 24 to 90 equivalent focal range because I can use it for photography, which I do some from time to time, but I like having a smaller range for my photography. But it's definitely a good lens for video, because video, I like having a wider range of focal lengths. And if one day I want to use this OM3 purely as a video cam, having that range in such a small package with a good stabilization, that's pretty awesome. I love this little restaurant, and here I'm framing it right in between this pole on my right side and this like machine to pay for the parking on the left side. The light is a bit gone now, but luckily I'm talking to you after I took the shot, so I think I got it correctly with the light and my little foreground elements. I also used F1.8 to have a little bit of blur on these foreground elements, which I think work well. And I mean, yeah, F1.8 equals 3.6 in full frame terms, so it's not like crazy out of focus. And the name of this type of sensor, Micro Four Thirds, tells you about the size. It's micro compared to full frame, it's smaller, but also it tells you about the aspect ratio. It's 4/3 or 4:3, which is a different aspect ratio I'm used to when shooting, especially because I like to crop my photos in post in 4:3, especially the vertical ones. But on the field, I'm always shooting in 3:2. Sometimes I put some markers to have like more of a letterbox crop, so it's kind of a 2:1 aspect ratio, but rarely I shoot in 4:3, which is kind of refreshing. Definitely helps to compose my vertical compositions because I end up cropping them in 4x3, almost all of them. So it's just easier to have and compose these in the final aspect ratio. There's less cropping, there's less miscomposed shots. And despite the size of the sensor, which is twice as small as full frame and even more, maybe 3 times smaller than medium format, sometimes you feel like you're shooting medium format because medium format has this more like 4x3-ish aspect ratio. Maybe it's 4x5, I don't remember exactly, but it has more vertical space when shooting horizontally. Yeah, interesting to be feeling like shooting medium format on such a small sensor camera. I just put the variable ND that I use to capture like video clips, but I will use it for photography. I'm in the shutter priority mode and I pull down my shutter speed to 1/4 of a second, and I think it matches this very heavy weather we have now. It's like 37, 38 degrees, and there's many people with umbrellas to cover them from sun rays, and I want to do something with a motion blur and a longer exposure. So yeah, I will try this for a few minutes now to see if we get anything interesting. I also want to talk about the construction and build quality of the OM3 because this is one of the areas where the camera immediately impressed me. The body is made from magnesium alloy and it feels extremely solid without feeling unnecessarily heavy. Everything feels very precisely assembled and properly finished. But what I enjoy the most are the dials because they have this beautifully damped, tactile feeling when you turn them. There is just the right amount of resistance and every click feels precise, and switching between the different settings is very satisfying. Also, one thing that needs to be mentioned is the weather sealing certification. It's IP something, which is pretty good, and it's just like a proof of commitment from OMSYSTEM to go the extra mile to certify its gear and give their customer like a true expectation. They are telling you what you can do with your camera and how far you can push them in terms of going in the rain and everything. So I find that much better in terms of communication and building trust than other companies that says weather resistant, weather sealing, splash proof. Those terms are very broad, and you don't know how far you can push them. So definitely this camera is pretty resistant in terms of weather. It's not that I had the chance of trying it too much recently here because we had just a clear sky, a bit of clouds, but not too much rain or any crazy weather. But of course, knowing that it's a camera that I would be comfortable bringing out regardless of the weather conditions, and that's just one other factor that builds to the reliability aspect of this camera. The viewfinder with my glasses, it's probably the viewfinder I can see the most out of every viewfinder I tried, and I can tell you I tried cameras that cost more than $10,000 with my glasses, and despite switching something in their menu, it was almost impossible to make the viewfinder work because with the glasses it's too far and the sensor was not really picking my eye up, so the viewfinder sometimes was just not turning on. I can tell that for this camera it's a total opposite. It works well. I can see everything very clearly, and I can see really the edges of the frame. I don't have to move my eye around too much, and being able to see everything, including the end of the frame. So this is very good. As I'm getting used to this 4x3 aspect ratio sensor, I find that here in Japan, where all the streets are pretty narrow, I tend to usually take a lot of shots vertically when I'm on these little back street, but having the just little extra vertical space on my horizontal photo just pushes me and invites me to shoot more horizontal photo even in these little back street, which I like because I have to be honest, I prefer horizontal photo. I think it's more natural to look at photos that were taken in this landscape orientation. It's just cool to see that naturally I'm more drawn to shooting more horizontal than vertical and still have all the details I want at the top and bottom of the frame. The camera itself is not light by any means, probably around the same weight as a Sony A7C II, just a few grams lighter. But because the lenses you attach to it are so light, the balance is always good. Like we could see in the previous clip, I just filmed my setup. Despite having the zoom lens now on, if I have the camera hanging around my neck with a neck strap, it still stays flat against my torso against my belly, which is a lot more comfortable than having a front heavy setup that tilts forward and that gives you like this sharp edge of a camera bumping into your belly or like your hip all day. So I mean all day, I would not be able to stand that for a whole day. So definitely here we have something a lot more comfortable despite using a zoom lens that gives us the range of 24 to 90 mil. There's nothing too special here, but I really love this building with its like very angular design. It's like a series of little blocks like squared like this. We have some light cutting through the scene, which creates a nice contrast. And here with a zoom lens, I can play with a tighter frame. Like I'm about 25 mil, which makes a 50 mil equivalent in full frame. And we have a very neat little composition that focuses on the building, the light, a bit of the sky, and that's it. Like if I were shooting this one much wider, I would have like the buildings on the left and on the right side of the frame, which doesn't look too bad, but definitely it's a lot busier and yeah, just there's less clarity in a photo like that. So I prefer the more tighter version. It's crazy how I do a decent amount of running and I consider myself to be in decent shape, but hiking is a whole different beast. Every time I hike, just so out of breath, but still, it's a good time spent in nature, taking photos, so maybe it's worth it. And it's a nice sweat bath. At least it's purifying my skin pores because there's just so much sweat coming out of them. So that's my kind of skincare routine. Okay, let's move on. I'm shooting here something around 70 mil. I love the texture of these like plants, bush kind of thing. I don't know what they are called, but those trees will have a very different shape because they are so straight and upright compared to like this more like organic texture from the plants. It creates a nice contrast. Of course, in terms of light, I mean, we have the plants that are brighter and the trees that are darker, especially more in the background. And also the colors, we have green and brown, so it works well together. And I tilt slightly my camera to find something that is quite harmonious, and yeah, it's creating a nice graphic composition, I would say. There's one thing that I've noticed since I'm using this camera is that the amount of shots I take per amount of time spent outside taking photos, either in the streets or here in nature during a hike, is far greater than when I'm using my other cameras. And I guess there's a bit of a novelty aspect to it because I've had this camera for about a week now, and it's not my first time using it. I've been using it quite a lot, being quite productive. It's my 5th time using the camera, so yeah, I'm getting used to it. And despite that, I'm still taking a lot of photos. And what I'm saying is not that the amount of great photos I take per amount of time spent outside is better than on my other cameras. It should be about the same. And I've talked in a previous video about the lucky factor, the lottery aspect of photography, where you never know what to expect, and sometimes you can take a lot of good shots within 10-20 minutes, and sometimes not a single good shot in a full day out shooting. But to me, the more amount of time you spend trying to figure out compositions and trying to take photos, the more fun you will have, which is a very important factor in you and in your photography journey. Because if you have fun when you're out shooting, you're more likely to go out again the next day or the next week or just whenever you have time, and this will lead you to take good photos. Definitely, I think this camera is one that has a little something that makes you go out the door a bit more than maybe other cameras, and that's very good.